Welcome, everyone. I'm really excited tonight to have Michael Laster here. I was introduced from a friend, Bruce Posner, who you may remember helped us with a posthumous review of Andrew Violette's work. Um, I've met him a few times now. We've talked about his pieces. He's got a wonderful array of classical music. Let me give you a quick bio on him. Composer of traditional orchestral works, the Yakima Symphony Chamber Orchestra is one example, and film, as well as chamber works and the large-scale piano works for Robert Frankenberry and Craig Ketter. Michael maintains a busy private teaching studio, scores films, gigs in clubs, and arranges for colleagues, including social activist Peter Joseph. A recipient of the Presser Scholarship of the City College of New York, where he studied with David Del Tredici, Manhattan-based composer guitarist Michael Laster has been a fellowship composer at the Seasons Music Festival in Washington, where he worked with Daron Hagen, Larry Allen Smith, Chris Brubeck, that name may sound familiar, and at the Wintergreen Summer Music Festival in Virginia, where he worked with Gilda Lyons. Thank you, Mike. Michael, thank you for coming tonight. I really appreciate this.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me, Andrew. I'm really
Yeah.
excited to do this.
Now, I know from talking with you already, in fact, we're going to introduce some of your dad's work near the end. Your father was a musician and composer as well. And what was it like growing up in his home?
Yeah, there was music all the time. So
Mm,
either it was coming from his room where he was teaching his students. He taught violin and some guitar and
mm.
mandolin.
Oh,
And
really?
yeah, so there was that coming from his room, and we'd also just play records and recordings around the house. Like
I love it.
every morning before elementary school, like I'd put on, some Beatles, like parts of the White Album or
Hmm.
Abbey Road or Hard Day's Night. And so there was that. There was a lot of classical music being played. There was bluegrass, there was folk music,
Wow.
and I'd say like one of the first things that really got me hooked on classical music was the film Fantasia
Oh,
growing up,
oh my God,
because
yeah.
in addition to the music being great, it's just embedded with like some of the most amazing animation of all time.
Yeah, a true, multimedia experience. Yeah. Did you ever sneak into your dad's studio and start to play his instruments, or maybe you don't want to tell us that?
Um, I didn't do that. I do
No.
remember like having some, toy cars that I would like put across the neck of the guitar because
Oh no.
it's a nice road.
Jeez. And it made music as
But
well. I love it. Yeah.
but no, I did fool around with the keyboard in our living room a lot.
Ah, yeah.
It
So
wasn't
what was the
later.
first what was the first instrument you learned as a child?
Drums is
Oh,
the
really?
first
Okay.
instrument, I
Yeah.
started taking serious lessons with for.
Your
And,
parents must have loved that.
yeah, I mean, before we actually got a drum set, that of course
Hmm.
we put, towels on to help dampen the
Yeah.
sound.
Yeah.
I would just assemble all these pots and pans and, on a chair and
Hmm.
just, I got real drumsticks and would just, put on some music and try playing along with it.
I love so you had rhythm at a young age. Yeah. And speaking of which, I love what you do with rhythm. I didn't mention this earlier to you, but some composers in the modern genre will deliberately change rhythm so much it's almost disturbing. You move through rhythms easily in a way that's quite accessible and fun, and I find that's very interesting. So then, what other instruments did you play as you grew up and went through elementary school and high school?
After drums was guitar
Mm.
because I saw a video like of Jimi Hendrix playing
Uh,
the Isle of Wight,
yeah.
and he just made, total mastery of your instrument look
Yes.
so easy. He just made it look like completely effortless.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, hey, that looks fun. That looks easy.
Mm.
And to this day, I'm still I'm still trying to wrap my head around
Now, did you take
the
lessons
fluency
formally
he
in
had.
guitar? I'm sorry to interrupt. Did you take lessons in guitar, or did you self-taught? How did you do that?
It was a combination. Like my
Yeah.
dad started off teaching me a few riffs
Yeah.
on guitar when I expressed interest.
Nice.
And then it was my high school teacher. high school music teacher
Mm.
who started giving me some more, you know, advanced
Yeah.
lessons.
So let's talk about when you first started composing. Do you remember what you did back then and how old you were roughly?
Yeah, I was in high school. I might have
Mm.
been around 17, 18,
Yeah.
and my dad had Finale on the computer,
Oh,
the
sure.
music notation program.
Yeah.
And I would just, at the time I was learning to read music, just to become a better musician.
Yeah.
And composing, was the ultimate exercise in terms of getting fluent in writing music too.
Yeah.
So I would, come up with little pieces to for piano largely, um, and but also, very much based on guitar because I wasn't that great at piano back then.
Mm.
So
Mm-hmm.
I would sort of get the harmonies on guitar and
Mm-hmm.
then, you know, um, figure out like note by note what I wanted
Oh.
on Finale, and that's
Mm-hmm.
before, I switched to Sibelius.
Yeah. Now tell us about your decision to become a composer. How did that go about? Was there a moment where that time that happened, or how did you find yourself committed to being a composer in your life?
Yeah, it was sort of gradual. Like I
Mm-hmm.
was doing a bit of songwriting
Mm-hmm.
on guitar
Yeah.
beforehand, but the seed that was planted in Fantasia at a young age, and also growing up with my dad, writing his own music and
Mm-hmm.
making his own, very sophisticated arrangements.
Yeah.
And also, I watched Leonard Bernstein's Harvard lectures,
Oh.
which were very influential. I
Mm-hmm.
just like loved the rigorous sort of intellectual approach he
Yeah.
had to it. And I decided late into high school, like, yeah, this is the best way for me to express, my creative impulse.
I love it. So
And
there was no plan B for you. You
no
knew where you were
plan
being.
B.
That's wonderful. That's
Yeah.
great. Well, let's talk about this first piece. We're going to play part of your piano sonata number two. Tell us a little bit about that.
So there's no extra musical narrative to it. It
Hmm.
is like purely instrumental, and in it, like a lot of my works, I employ sonata form, which
Yes.
I don't believe is dead. It's only dead if people stop using
Right.
it.
Right.
But just ask, Prokofiev or even Schoenberg, you know,
Hmm.
if it's dead, and no, even they used it.
Yeah.
So I I like to, try to just build an architecture of starting with like a melodic idea, um, or certain motifs that are either going to be like the first theme, the second theme, and then, disperse themselves throughout the piece,
Yeah.
using, just contrasting sections that
Hmm.
can be later integrated and played with and, further fragmented.
Right.
And so for this, it's basically based on this melody. It's like dun 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 dun, and the first theme and second theme are sort of monothematic.
Mm.
So it's that as the first theme in a minor key, and in a major key for the second theme.
I love the fact too that in this video you highlight the different sections for us, so that it really helps with people that try to understand how it flows. So
Yeah, hopefully it'll help people follow along. It's
yeah,
a, intricate piece like on the first listen, but once this is on YouTube, hopefully people, you know.
yeah. Now who's playing this for you?
Craig Ketter is a
Yeah.
fantastic musician. That's his son turning pages.
Oh my
So
God. That must be a thrill to have someone else playing your music. It's got to be a real rush, I
it
imagine.
really is. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm lucky to know. This
Excellent.
was filmed during the pandemic,
Oh,
so
really?
I helped him, get a camera set up and a mic set up.
Mm-hmm.
So, this was like just a new experience for him and for me,
Love it. Well, let's give it a spin.
right?
I'm curious, did you have to, because you were working with him intimately, was there any, it must have been interesting to have someone playing your music from, you have a visual idea of what it should be, and then they're playing it from the sheet music. Were there ever any points of interpretation where you said, I'd like to do it this way, or give him some advice about how it should be played, or did he just play it like right out of the gate in a way that made sense to you?
Um, he would send me recordings
Hmm.
first,
Uh-huh.
and he'd tape it while making recordings, and I'd give a little feedback on the sessions, but
Mm-hmm.
otherwise, it's all him.
Yeah.
He's just a fantastic pianist, and I feel lucky that I got to have him on board
Yeah,
with it.
that's great. How did you two cross paths?
So he was the accompanist, still is, to my friend who's an opera singer.
Ah,
So, after I saw him, accompanying my friend, and just being such a great sight reader,
yeah.
I knew like he wouldn't like it wouldn't take him like 2 years to learn this.
I love it.
Uh,
I love it.
so yeah, and I also just want to give out, some recognition to my composition teacher, uh, my mentor, Daron Hagen, who's just completely, instrumental, no pun intended, to
Yeah,
just
yeah.
like helping me step into, my own as a composer, and just helping me get to develop a sense of nuance
Mm-hmm.
in composition while still letting me maintain like my own voice.
Yeah.
So, um, it- he, I can't like overstate, what a great musician he is.
Wonderful. Now, this next piece is called Physical Dream. And by the way, I love your album cover. It looks like almost a Salvador Dali thing there. Um,
I do love surrealism.
yeah. Did you have someone do that, or is that an actual Dali thing? I'm not sure what that is, but it looks great.
Yeah, that's a Dolly painting.
Oh, it is. It is Dali. Yeah, yeah. So tell us about Physical Dream and how that came about.
So Physical Dream is a song that I got a colleague from City College, where I went to college,
Hmm.
to sing.
Yeah.
Um, and he, um, he did a great job singing it. And another colleague and friend, Taylor Bradshaw, helped produce it, really with the engineering. I still arranged and composed everything,
Yeah.
but Taylor is a brilliant sound engineer. So, Physical Dream is, some people would hear the title and think that it's meant to be, sensual or something, but it's really just about when, seeing actual reality as being somewhat dreamlike,
Hmm.
but except it's just physically embodied
Yeah.
in a way that
Interesting.
actual dreams aren't.
Hmm.
And it's also in a sense like a love song that's wearing a mask.
Huh.
So it's a combination of a few things. It plays with the idea of contrast. Uh,
Interesting. Now, this is a vocal thing. How many voices are in this?
Just one, but I contribute one lead vocal, but I contribute backing vocals during the
Oh, really?
chorus.
Well, I did
Yeah.
not know that. Okay. Excellent. So this is Physical Dream.
Looking at my watch, looking at my watch, I can see that the time is right, my friend. Looking at the clock, we can see that the hands are right, my friend. It's hard to know what's been projected, everything's just so connected now. But how do you do the thoughts that keep you up at night? Something's wrong, but it's alright now. Oh, how do you do? We'll never know what is to blame. Deep down we see it's just a game that's taken on this physical dream, drifting downstream and wasting our time, breaking our mind in two. How do you do? Looking at the wall, I can see that the bricks are right, my friend. Looking through the night, I can see that the streets are right, my friend. Unicorns and rusty nails, butterflies and garbage pails. Oh, what do you say? Lock the door without a key, close your eyes and look at me. Oh, what do you say? We'll never know what is to blame. Deep down we see it's just a game that's taken on this physical dream, drifting downstream and wasting our time, breaking our mind in two. Searching for the truth, I can know that your heart is right, my friend. Listening to your song, I can hear that the notes are right, my friend. Do away with archetypes, be with what is in plain sight now. Oh, what do you say? What doesn't kill you makes you strong, giving birth to abstract songs. Oh, how do you do? We'll never know what is to blame. Deep down we see it's just a game that's taken on this physical dream, drifting downstream and wasting our time, breaking our mind in two. How do you do?
Nice. You know, before I break away from the image of this, I want to show people that there's a lot of people making comments in here throughout this whole recording. In fact, you know, they also have, you know, the comments come in at the specific point, you know, great song, love the change here, whatever. Uh, Really interesting that you have all this commentary coming back at you. That's quite nice.
Yeah,
Uh,
that's back in like the golden age of SoundCloud, back when there were public groups that you could post your track to. And, you know, based on the genre, based on keywords, and, you know,
yeah.
people would comment. Now it's a bit harder.
Oh, they don't have that
For
anymore. I didn't
No,
realize that.
it's less social now.
Oh, that's too bad because that's a wonderful feature. And by the way, this sounds to me like this would be, I think if the Beatles were still around today, this would be one of the songs they would write. It really has a
Thanks.
wonderful quality that I think the Beatles would love to embrace. And so I can feel the influence there. It's also got some reggae in it, obviously, too. But I'm very interested in the scale. I want to go back and play that melody on the piano to see, is it a special kind of like a minor scale or something? It's something very interesting the way it moves around.
Yeah,
Um,
it's not a special scale. It's just adapts to the chord changes.
Yeah, really nicely done.
Yeah.
Very nicely done. A lot of fun.
But
And
like there's some melodic minor ascending, and then harmonic minor descending.
yeah, you know, I didn't introduce this earlier, but one of the things I like about your music is I encourage people to go to Spotify to listen to you because you have a wide range of genres here. You have a wide range of that you're quite capable of composing, and so it's not just classical. It's not. It's really quite fascinating. So I
Thanks.
think people. I had a hard time picking out what I wanted to play, and that's why I pretty much left it to you to pick your favorites. But I had a lot of fun listening to a lot of this, and so
Thank you.
I encourage people to do that.
Yeah, just to point out on Spotify, it's songs like those, but I haven't uploaded any classical stuff on Spotify. So it's all
Oh,
SoundCloud that has the majority of my music,
yeah.
indie rock and classical and
Hmm.
other.
Now, this next piece, we're going to actually play some of the score too. So let me bring that up. Um, this is Graffiti for Idealists. What a great title. Tell us a little bit about that.
Thanks. It's one of those things where it just has a nice ring to it.
Hmm.
And, I didn't compose this piece, thinking about graffiti or thinking about idealism. It could have been called like spaghetti for arsonists, for for what it's
Well, that's
worth.
got a nice ring too.
Yeah, it does. As long as it follows some sort of, um, Edie for somethingist.
Yeah.
But it's just instrumental work for quartet,
Hmm.
and I'm very proud of it. I and the quartet who performed it at the Wintergreen Music Festival just did such a fantastic job with it. And,
Yeah.
I'm really grateful to the work they put into it.
So this is a live recording, in fact, right?
Yes, it
This is
was
great.
the recording of the premiere.
Yeah. Excellent. Excellent. So let me, I'm going to scroll through the score as they're playing, and any misalignments, totally my fault. So bear with me here, but this should be fun. just wanted to get that picture in there of the quartet as well. That was great. You know, the I have to admit it was a little challenge trying to count because you have changing meters in various points, which is quite exciting. And I wonder how you go about doing that. Is it more of you have a feeling for something that's going to happen, then you have to compress it into a structure that has given beats, or do you actually think I'm going to go, I want to go from 3/4 to 6/4 or whatever? How do you approach that?
Um, so a lot of the time, like my mind just sort of does work in 4/4, but
Yeah.
then always try to push myself to
Mm.
try and like create little extensions here and there to just sort of let the music or to let just like certain notes or certain gestures just breathe a bit more.
Yeah.
That way, it's not totally predictable. Just um, just to just to add a bit of
Yeah.
an
Stir
off
things up.
kilter feel, even if you can predict the harmony that's about to come.
Yeah. Well, that's quite a professional group. That's a challenging piece to play, but it's just wonderful to listen to and sit back and go, yeah, but to actually be up there on stage and playing that, that must have been quite the challenge for them. So
Yeah, and
they're
they're
a good group.
students. They're students.
Oh my
They
God,
were
really?
students at the time, so
Wow.
that just shows how talented as individuals they
Yeah,
all are
very
to
impressive.
pull that together.
Now, this next thing is a scherzo from your first piano sonata. So tell us about that.
So this I'd say is like my most you know, neoclassical sounding piece where
Hmm.
it's sort of a straightforward scherzo, but also, in sonata form,
Yeah.
that's going to be a highlight of most of my instrumental works.
Hmm.
But Rob Frankenberry, who's, a close friend of my composition teacher, Daron,
Hmm.
and, we also became, great friends along the years at the festivals. And he's incredibly talented. He recorded these pieces, you know, at um, at various studios, and um, it's just one of those pieces where I just sort of wanted to put in my sense of humor and sense of quirkiness,
Yeah.
and Frank Rob just uh, did a great interpretation of it.
Very nice. All right, let's listen to this. This is Scherzo, the third movement, I believe, of your first
Yeah.
sonata. I had a hard time keeping up with that, but thank you for your help there. That was amazing. That is quite almost comical and fun and crazy, incredible. Uh,
As scherzo should be.
yeah, so that is quite fun.
Yeah,
And
Rob really nailed it. So,
wow, that is not an easy piece. So now I know you said that you were at a time when you weren't that good at the piano. Can you actually play that yourself now, or do you
no,
kind of
I
that?
can barely play
Yeah,
any of my pieces.
yeah,
I mean, I can go through certain sections slowly. Like I
yeah.
did have to, figure out a lot of key aspects of it, just to make sure things are possible to play.
That's why I want to ask if you can't play up to speed. How do you know it's possible? But that's a whole technique, I'm sure, to that too.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's wonderful. Well, it really did seem to test the limit of technique and also tempo and all of that. And I just had a hard time sight reading, let alone actually playing it. But it's gorgeous. It's just great. So that was a lot of
thank you.
fun. Now this next thing is a duet. Uh, Tevye tries to tango. What's the story on that one?
Yeah, so I'm sure a lot of people know the character Tevye from Fiddler on the Roof,
Hmm.
and I wanted to incorporate, his character into the title of a piece that incorporates klezmer and um, tango
Uh-huh.
music, which, I was asked to write a violin duet, commissioned to write it by Sharon Leventhal
Oh.
at Wintergreen, who's a fantastic, violinist and specializes in playing the music um, of composers who like have a lot of extended technique and use microtonal tuning.
Mm.
And I think Robert Johnston is one of them. And so I wanted to pick two genres that, can sort of contrast each other, but are both known for the extended technique that they employ.
Now, when you
Because
say microtonal tuning, does that mean that you have to write between the notes, like you have to write a quarter step, or how does that work?
yeah, I mean, I didn't learn any of the special notation for this. I'm just saying, like, she specializes in people who do.
Wow.
So I
Wow.
knew, I could really throw in some extended technique, based on my own knowledge of
Yeah.
extended technique. So I didn't like
Interesting.
specify microtones, but a lot of the klezmer technique and a lot of the tango technique, do use some unorthodox things
Huh.
in the relative to the regular repertoire. Uh,
Excellent.
so so I got sort of Tevye to represent the klezmer aspect of things, which my dad played a bit of klezmer in the house. Like we were fans of Itzhak Perlman, who also is a decent klezmer player.
Oh, I did
Um,
not know that. Ah.
And also, my dad was friends with Lisa Gutkin, who's in the Klezmatics, famous klezmer band.
Huh.
Um, and tango, is a style that, I definitely grew an appreciation for
Yeah.
once, I heard the nuances of what a lot of composers and players like employ, such as I think it's called chikara or chichikara, which represents cicadas.
Huh.
So that's where they take their bow, the frog of their bow, and make a little
Oh, no kidding.
sound
Yeah.
at the edge of their D string.
I have to tell you, my wife and I took ballroom dancing some years ago, and one of our favorite dances was the tango. It's just a beautiful dance too. So excellent. All right. Well, let's give this a run.
Right?
Wow, the two of them are great. You know what I
Yeah,
like? I have to admit, I love the fact that you have all this in the back. It's almost like Peter and the Wolf. I'd love to see this thing performed with a famous announcer announcing it as it goes, you know. And you almost wonder
yeah,
sometimes all music maybe should have that. It'd be great to have like little thoughts about the composer about what's happening in the background as you listen to a piece, you know. Because there's always I'm sure something more in there that people don't appreciate. That's, you know, there's a lot of nuance in there that maybe people wouldn't get if they were just casually listening to it. Very
yeah,
nice.
yeah. Like if there aren't enough pauses in the piece, then maybe like as subtitles or like projected on a screen. But if there's like room for it, then you can, you know,
Yeah,
verbally do it.
yeah. Okay, so now this next thing is very different. It's called Tricksters, Fools, and Clowns, and we have a recording of this. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so this is my newest song that I wrote and recorded in the studio. Miles Blue Spruce helped engineer and produce it, and he played drums on it. And, I sang on it and played all the other instruments. And it's sort of surrealist in terms of the lyrics, but at the same time, it's about, just trying to stay sane in an era of absurdity and breakdown. So,
Mm, mm. Okay.
No one makes waffles quite like Rutherford, and no one makes pancakes like Lorraine. On the horizon, they ride towards a miracle. Now you'll never see them in the lighthouse. Mallory smiles upon her crocodile. She's hoping to whatever can flip your frown, in spite of all the tricksters, fools, and clowns, endeavoring to display the circus in our DNA. There once was a man who speaks in limericks. His wife only speaks in haikus. Sipping tequila, they ponder impermanence. Now we'll never celebrate the timeless. Oh, whatever can break you through, whatever can turn you round, as everybody dreams of solid ground. Juggling dark and light, fumbling as we freeze or fawn or flee or stay and fight. Whatever can lift you up, whatever can flip your frown, in spite of all the tricksters, fools, and clowns, endeavoring to display the circus in our DNA.
Wow. You certainly are resourceful, my friend. You can really pull out a lot of genres here and make it work. I could see you doing all kinds of production stuff for movies and shows and all of that. And I'd love to see, in fact, a video production of this, like an MTV thing almost, with with some kind of wonderful video work as well.
Yeah, I do plan on making a music video for this.
That would be wonderful. I would love to see that. Let me know when you do that. So this has been a wonderful hour of your music. Let's just have a little bit of a taste of your dad's stuff, because I'd like to do a whole other interview with you about your dad's music. We'll do that sometime soon, hopefully.
Yeah, I wouldn't be, I'm sure I wouldn't be interested as in, exploring as many genres as I do if it weren't for my dad. And
Yeah,
just in this one example, you hear a whole buffet of different styles
yeah,
because his track Swan Dive that we're about to hear a fragment of
yeah.
is, taken melody from Swan Lake, which is Romantic era
Hmm.
classical music, but it's done as sort of a swing jazz cover. And even within that, he draws from a later section in the Baroque era, where he sort of like makes a fugue out of it, and there's like a little ode to like the Brandenburg Concerto, and it's just completely seamless throughout. So
Yeah, it's very enjoyable. So thank you. Put together a little snippet of this for us. This is just a small fraction of, I think it's 18-minute piece, but this is wonderful. I really enjoyed
yeah,
listening
this
to
is
it.
taken from the documentary I made on his life and music and legacy.
I love it. wonderful.
Yeah, so in just like, 2, 3 minutes, he covers like 200 years of music.
And you know, what a wonderful thing when you think about it. Why shouldn't we, in this day and age, as we look back at all the musical influences in our lives, be able to embrace all that and put it together in new ways? Why not? Think about it. It makes a lot of sense.
Exactly.
Thank you, Michael, for sharing this great hour with us. And also, I'm looking forward to the next event where we're going to talk about your dad's music as a whole nother interview experience. But this has been quite a joy. And I'm sure my listeners are going to get a real kick out of this. And of course, eventually it'll be posted elsewhere on the internet for people to listen to it over time. So it'll be archived. And your journey and your musical journey so far is quite fun. And I wish you many years of success ahead.
Yeah, thanks so much for everything, Andrew. Appreciate you having me.
My pleasure. Have a great night.
All right,
Thanks,
you
everybody.
too.